Hi, my name is Michael Owens, and I would like to extend a warm group chat welcome to Miss Kira Starr.
Hello.
So, Kira, to start out, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself? Because to me, you are one of the most interesting people that I've ever had the pleasure of working with. So, can you tell us
Oh,
about that?
yeah. So I am, I guess during the week, I am a registered veterinary nurse, registered in Oklahoma and then licensed in Texas as well. Um, guys, they always do this when I'm on a call. Um, and then, as kind of like a side hobby that I kind of got big for, I started modeling. Um, I had started. I had started in like JCPenney campaigns and things like that whenever I was in high school. And then it kind of moved up whenever I became an adult and kind of on my own. I started venturing out into different things like shibari, which is the Japanese art of tying rope. So shibari doesn't necessarily have to involve people. You can do shibari on your furniture. But the art of having a body in the rope is very intriguing for a lot of people and it's different. And so my modeling kind of skyrocketed from there. Um, and then I just kind of branched out to other things. Consider
Branched
myself
out to
more
other things.
versatile.
So, you're currently in College Station attending school, right?
Yes, I am getting enrolled in school. Classes don't start until later on this fall, though.
Okay. And what are you studying? You're studying more veterinarian stuff, right?
Yeah, so my final goal in life is to become a veterinary surgeon. So I'll have to go back to college and go to doctorate school and get my doctorate degree for that, which is going to take a long while.
It does take a while. I just got mine last fall. Not veterinarian nonsense, I
Yeah, yeah,
education.
you're
Um, and I wrote the most least interesting dissertation ever over how habits in typing has changed the way we spell stuff. It
hmm
was the most boring thing you've ever heard of, and I'm so sorry I even brought it up. So when you were younger, when you were in high school, and earlier than that even, did you see yourself modeling at all?
no. No, I was a tomboy. I loved skateboarding, playing with bugs, rolling in the mud, making mudslides, like the works. My mom from a young age had always wanted me to kind of get into modeling. I don't have a relationship with my parents because they chose drugs over their family, which is a whole other uh, story we could get into later. Um, so I guess from a young age, she always kind of dreamt of me modeling, but I don't know if that was just kind of her dream pushed onto me. But I was just very skinny growing up, and she was like, "Oh, you're a toothpick. You could be a model." And um, she had tried to do like modeling campaigns with me whenever I was a kid, but they all turned out to be scams. Of course, if you're, mother's on drugs trying to look into things, most likely she's gonna go into some shady stuff. But uh, thankfully, none of it ever took off from then because I feel like I was way too young. I was not interested in it whatsoever. Um, but then, as I got into high school, I had a lot of friends who were into art and photography. So, just because of my unique style, I guess, they always wanted me to be a muse and pose and for photos. So I would do that. And of course, I wasn't the most confident kid. I got bullied in school. So I definitely did not see myself, at least how I do now. I'm definitely, I would consider myself more confident now. Uh, but I've just I never really cared what other people thought about me and what I did. So, I always made that number 1 in life was to make me happy because I'm the only one I got, and, I'm the only one that really matters in the end, and so I guess that mindset just kind of blossomed me into where I am now. Of course, I love people, and I love meeting new people and seeing their like, art vision behind the
Uh-huh.
lens because every photographer is different. Like, you can say, "Oh, I'm a photographer, I'm into photography," but what kind? And everyone has their own take on photos and what they like to do and their settings that they like, the editing that they like, editing or no editing if they prefer no editing. I actually just recently worked with a photographer that he doesn't like to do any editing. He just likes to take the photos and then you get all the raws and you can do whatever you want with them. And so
You don't know how much that hurts me.
I know, but they
It
came
hurts
out
my
really good.
heart. Well, that's awesome. I guess cameras are so advanced nowadays, um, that we can get acceptable raw photos and oh, but it hurts my heart. So, was there a moment and you mentioned working with your friends in high school, but was there an absolute moment where you thought this is for me, this is something that I want to do?
Yeah, I guess, once I started doing it as an adult, I started meeting new people, these photographers were becoming my friends. Not only was it like a professional relationship, it was a friendship that we were forming, because a lot of the times whenever you're first starting out, you're working with the same people over and over because you're trying to build your portfolio. So you kind of find, uh, starting off, you kind of find your photographers that you feel more comfortable with that you like their style, you like how you look in their photos. It's definitely a confidence boost getting images back. Like I said, I wasn't the most confident. I didn't feel like I was very pretty. I was bullied all throughout my life. So to be asked to pose for photos and then, you're kind of nervous. You're like, "Oh, I bet I look like a goof. I don't look good. I look derpy as heck." Uh, and then to get the photos back and to be like, you kinda have this mindset at first of, "This isn't me. This isn't me." Like, I've always had this image of myself in my head, like, "You edited this, you morphed something, this isn't me." And then you go to more photo shoots and then get more photos back in different photographer's image style, and you're like, "Oh, this is me, and I do actually look better than what other people have portrayed me to look," and it's a confidence boost. Um,
Uh-huh.
so I think once I became an adult and started actually getting comfortable with the people I was working with, developing a bond with people I was working with, and getting quality images back that I liked, that's whenever I started enjoying it and I wanted to do more. I started getting more creative ideas on what I wanted to do, like with costumes and props and things like that. Um, but yeah, it's definitely a building block.
So, with all that being said, you're definitely an accomplished model at this point, or at least in my eyes, you are. I don't know how you view yourself, but what is your biggest milestone where you just look back and you went, "Oh, yeah, I made it. I'm pretty awesome."
I guess whenever I was on Vogue, of course I was on their website edition, but I got my own article in Vogue, and then I've been in a few big magazines, like Malvi is a pretty big magazine in France. I just got published in a Netherlands magazine. I'll have to look back on the name because it literally just happened like yesterday. Um, but it's nice to have like all these bigger magazines now reaching out to me instead of me submitting to them. Um, kind of makes me feel more accomplished. But also the fact that I've been able to kind of transform from a model just looking to grow their profile to a model who really doesn't need images anymore and who's here to help other growing photographers or other growing models with their posing. I have been hired to be a creative director and help models pose for shoots. Um, so I can do that. Uh, but it just kind of comes naturally. I like to look at a scenery and just see potential in it. I'm just like, what can I do here?
Mhm.
A lot of the times I do a lot of crazy poses, but it turns out really good.
No, you're awesome, and I love everything that I've ever produced with you on your end, because you're just amazing. You make my life so much easier, because I don't have to give any posing direction. So you're awesome in that respect.
Thank you. But yeah, I would say that all in all, me considering myself a successful model would be getting into the bigger magazines and then being able to be somebody that people come to book instead of me going to people for concepts. People are coming to me because they want to book me out. They like my images, and it 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 adds to, hey, I'm actually doing good. I am making a little profit as my own little business. So that's success in its own book, and I'm happy doing it. Makes me it's fun.
Yeah. So you've had hundreds of photo shoots, I'd probably say. What separates a good photo shoot from an okay photo shoot, and why is it location?
Say a lot of the times what sets apart shoots and productions would be the team's attitude.
Fantastic.
Uh, yeah, I have been at a couple photo shoots where like normally if you're at a photo shoot, the photographer is like, yes, hold that pose, you're doing great. Some sort of words of encouragement. Um, I have worked with a couple photographers where it seemed like, maybe photography used to be their passion, but because they made it a business, they maybe kinda got burnt out, and it made me feel in the shoot like they weren't interested in having me there, they weren't interested in the photos that were being produced, um so that is kind of like the downfall of shooting is if your photographer just kind of seems like he doesn't want to be there and it's just kind of another job, another job he has to do, another chore. Um which that's kind of rare for me to get. Kind of shocks me because I'm normally bubbly and fun and giggling throughout a shoot and trying to have a good time. And then if you're just kinda huffing and puffing and sighing throughout the whole shoot and acting like you wanna go home, not very fun. Uh,
So the relationship between the photographer and model clearly matters, how we communicate, and all that. So what are good habits for photographers to have that helps build trust, helps build relationship?
uh, a lot of it starts with the first communication that you guys have, whether that be over, messages or phone call, just to kinda get to know each other, set down boundaries, set down, kinda expectations for the shoot. Um, guy, man, you are every time I'm on a conference call. Why we got the spray bottle? Um, so, I lost my train of thought here. What was the question?
Okay. Relationship what can photographers do to help deepen a relationship with a model, help establish that trusting barrier?
So, it all starts with the first communication, scheduling the shoot, and then Please stop. Uh, and then I guess setting the vibe for wherever you're at, whether you're shooting in your own studio or you rented out an Airbnb or you're just kind of doing it at a home studio. Um, music is always nice. Definitely not something, trap music is probably not appropriate. Um, uh, sensual music is probably not appropriate, but something like fun and upbeat that everyone can enjoy, kind of a little more mainstream. Music is always fun. If they're old enough and consenting, beverages can be fun. Sometimes beverages can be a little creepy if you just kind of walk in and there's like alcohol there. It definitely needs to be talked about beforehand. Uh, I am the type of person where sometimes I'll bring like a bottle of wine to a shoot, especially to like a group shoot. Just to, if anyone wants any, they can partake and kind of loosen up a little bit if they're a little nervous. Um, but just kind of setting the tone of the studio. No one wants to walk into, a messy place, messy studio, um, where it just doesn't feel like homey. It doesn't feel like the photographer took time to take care of everything.
I
Music helps.
completely understand that.
Communication
Music helps.
helps. Words of encouragement help. If someone like don't be a quiet photographer. If someone's doing a good pose, let them know like, "Hey, that looks great." Or, if even if they're not doing a good pose, say, "Hey, that looks great," and boost their confidence up a little bit. You
Okay,
heard it here not from
awesome.
me.
So in Eh, I'm only speaking for myself here, but whenever I'm shooting, I'm always trying to tell a story. There's always some element of storytelling that goes on. Um, and in your opinion, what makes something more of a story-driven photo shoot versus, hey, we're just there to shoot a concept?
Hmm. I do like to consider like I feel like even if it's a concept, it could still be a little story driven. Uh, and I say that thinking more about like facial expressions. Um, I use a lot of like different scenarios that I have been in life where I could feel my face doing certain emotions. And so I try to think back on those moments to recreate the facial look that I want for certain concepts. So in a way, you're kind of looking back and creating your own storyline to create the emotion that you're trying to capture. Um,
So
but
almost a method acting.
kinda. I do feel like modeling does have a little bit of acting in it. Cause you do kind of step into this character that you're not normally posing in front of a camera. You're most of the time, I'm a gremlin on the couch. Like I'd eating snacks in a onesie and I got my hair in a bun and I got a five head. But in Suits, you step into this persona that you don't normally get to be in everyday life, and it's kinda nice. It's like your own little spotlight.
So who is that persona for you?
I mean, of course, Kira Star is my real name, and I always get asked, "What is my real name?" Because I think Kira Star is my stage name, but that is my real name, but I always thought that it was good enough to be a stage name, and no one could really tell the difference, and I guess I was a little right, but I step into Kira Star. I like to have a little bit of, I've always been told growing up that I look like a Japanese doll, so I've always kinda used that to my advantage with my just kinda my style and how I like to look. I do like to look more like anime, but I don't necessarily cosplay. I just take influence and create my own myself, if that makes sense. Um,
Mhm.
but I like to
To
be this more like
completely
whimsical pastel goth type presence.
to completely trace a rabbit here, what is your favorite anime and why?
My favorite anime, man, that's a hard one. I would have to say either Chobits because that was probably the first manga that got me into anime, and it's very cute, and it is all female written. Um, and then Parasite is a really good one, um, because like alien parasites invade Earth and like uh, take over human bodies, but this one parasite was unsuccessful, so he took over the dude's hand instead. So they have to learn to live together instead of it being a parasite taking over the whole body. It's just took over the hand. So that's a really fun anime. And then of course Attack on Titan is probably
So there was a basic white girl answer in there.
yeah.
Okay.
There's one mainstream answer in there.
So what type of modeling do you do? I know you do a little bit of everything, but in
Whatever
general,
I get paid to do.
whatever you get paid to do.
Uh, what I like to do, I like to do more like costume shoots. Like I built a pyramid headpiece out of cardboard and plaster, and I did that pyramid head shoot that I really enjoyed in in an abandoned insane asylum. And then I did a creepy clown shoot in an abandoned building that was pretty cool. Uh I like being like more horror. Everyone wants me to be sexy, and that's all what all the magazines want, but I like to be creepy.
Okay. So note to self, do bloodbath with Kira next Halloween.
Yeah. Well, let's do what I want to do. I'm kidding, no. There people do what I want to do all the time. Like I did a fairy shoot, a couple fairy shoots and things like that. So I get fun. My cat shoots.
Fun is so important in this industry. I think people forget that. Like whenever I'm booked out to travel, like next week I have to go do a maternity session in Tulsa and I'm like, I don't want to do this. So I booked myself fun stuff around it. And it's important to keep sane and do the stuff you like to do.
Yeah. I mean, for the maternity shoot, you could do like a milk bath with flower petals. That's always cute.
I don't have access to a milk bath when I'm in Tulsa. That would be cool. I should make people travel to me instead of the other way around.
Or you
No,
could instead of like a bath, you could rent out like a little kiddie pool and do it in.
why didn't I think of that? Hmm.
That'd actually be kind of cute, like a kiddie pool filled with like a milk bath. It'd be like you're like getting ready to deliver, a bath delivery.
Mhm. Okay. So you were talking about doing more sexy shoots for magazines. I want to go there for a second. I vaguely remember a post a couple months back from you. I think it was on Facebook, talking about the difference between adult content and what you do as modeling. Can you
Oh my
elaborate a
god.
little bit more on that? If you want to. If you don't, you do
Yeah.
not have to.
I think the biggest misconception about models is that we are sex workers.
Hmm.
Now, you can be a sex worker and a model, but they are two different professions. You you can I don't do sex work. I used to try to dabble in the OnlyFans, but I've never been a very sexual person in general. So it never really piqued my interest to get big in OnlyFans. The only reason I still have one is to post like photos from shoots that I can't post to social media, like my nude shoots. I can't post those to Instagram. What else am I going to do with them? I don't I don't need to look at myself. I look at myself every day. So I don't have a use for these photos. I got paid and booked to take these photos, so I might as well, cater to my fan base that wants to see those photos. But otherwise, like I don't go out looking for partners to make videos with. I think everyone hardly sees me model with anybody. But whenever I do, it's always tasteful or with cars. But
I love your car work.
thank you. But I think a lot of the sex workers that do model, they started sex working first and then they model to advertise for their sex work, which that does kind of go hand in hand, but to just look at a model and be like, you're a slut. you have sex with every single photographer that you meet, um, which is actually what my mom messaged me accusing me of. She thought that I was having sex with every photographer that I shot with, and I was like, "You don't even know your own daughter, because I have not had sex
That's
with
so sad.
any one of them. Not one has got to have sex with me." So like, they have to ask to even touch me, like, if they need to move my hair out of my face, a photographer's asking me, "Is it okay if I move this piece of strand out of your face?" And that's the more professional thing to do, you don't just walk up and touch somebody, like, you ask. Um, so that has been probably the biggest struggle in this field is everyone thinks you're a slut. Everyone thinks you're just down for everything, down to try anything once, and that's not the case. Um, I all of my shoots are professional. Um, all the conversations between me and the photographers are professional. I do have like a mental list of like keywords and phrases that if a photographer says any of them to me, that's an immediate red flag and I'm not working with them. If they're overly flirtatious, that's like you don't need to be doing that with every single person you work with. You don't need to be doing that with anyone you work with. Um my my advice, don't poke the help. It causes drama. I
Mhm.
don't know how much model drama I have been in, not even like models coming at me because I work with a photographer or a videographer that they're in cahoots with, that they're, hooking up with on the side, and they think I'm doing the same thing. And I have to break it to these ladies. I'm like, look, like you can talk to me and get to know me and you'll see that I'm not like that. I don't want this videographer. I don't want a photographer. I don't like I just do this on the side for fun to make extra money and, get into more magazines. Like it's literally just a side hobby. Like I don't I don't know. Model journal.
So, do you think people confuse being comfortable with your body with wanting to be sexualized? Because in my
Yeah.
mind, there's a difference. Okay.
Yeah. I definitely see uh like on both sides with like men and women, I see confidence and comfortability with your body, like they feel threatened. I definitely see a threatening sort of vibe about it. They automatically assume that you're attention seeking. I'm not like I don't post for any specific person other than I got a bunch of photos that I need to do something with them. They're just sitting in my camera roll. I can't I might as well post them for the world to see. Originally, whenever I first got Instagram back in, when Instagram first came around as an app, I feel like it's been ages now. Like,
So, I only know this because I know we're the same age, but weren't we too young to have Instagram when it came out?
we all lied about our age so that we could get on social media.
We all did it. I was 14 saying I was born in '89.
Yeah, so whenever I first dabbled in Instagram when it first came around, I was honestly just posting photos to get them off of my phone so that I could delete them off my phone but still have them, to look back on. 'Cause that's why you take photos, you have something to look back on. Um, and then I got into modeling, so now I use it to advertise and book.
Okay. So, I've shot with you twice now, and I can say that out of everyone I've shot with, you're probably the most comfortable and confident person I know in front of the camera. Were you always that comfortable and confident?
I mean, I've always had like a level of like being comfortable with myself. And that kind of stems from what I said earlier, where I never really cared what anyone thought about me. And I never really cared like what people did or didn't like that I was doing as long as it made me happy. Um, that kind of went hand in hand with my confidence and my how comfortable I am. Uh, I am a goof majority of the time, so a lot of the times I'll just do some random thing. It's just like I don't even think about it. I'll just do it and it's like hilarious, but it's like really good for the camera. And I'm like, there was one shoot that comes to my head whenever I'm thinking about this. It was one of my birthday shoots. I had like kind of like drawn on myself like a doll, so I like did like the doll parts for my limbs and stuff. And then like we filled a bathtub full of balloons, and I just took 2 balloons, like, I'm nude. I took 2 balloons to my chest, and I just, like, just started flailing over the tub, and I was like, "Does this even look good?" Because I feel like I just look ridiculous.
Did it look good?
Oh, it looked really good. It looked really good, and we can pan up a couple photos from that, in the video if you'd like. But
Absolutely, we should do that.
But yeah, it looked really good, and I was very happy with how it came out and everything. So, but it was just really goofy and uh, just all of the props that came together. Like we had fake plants all around the tub. The tub was filled with like pink balloons. Like it didn't really look like it came together. It just kind of looked like a mess. But the photos came together because we
That's
made it all like
awesome.
light, and then the green kind of popped with everything of the plants and.
That's awesome. So, we were talking earlier about trust between photographers and models and how important that is. So, do you have any horror stories, like anything awful that's ever happened, or have you kept it all above board?
I will say that I, thankfully, have never had anything bad happen to me. I have never, um, I've never had anything creepy happen to me. I've never had, like, been inappropriately touched. I've never, like, even in my Shibari shoots, you're completely bound up. You are 100% trusting your photographer and your rigger or your team you're working with, whether it be, for the 10,000th time or for your first time. I'm putting my 100% trust and faith that this person is not going to do anything to me while I am bound up. And that also goes into the conversations that you have with these people before you book. Um, Setting boundaries, getting to know the person, getting to know how they talk, how they act, looking back on their previous things that they've posted. Have they tagged their models? If a photographer's not tagging anybody in the photos they're posting, there's a reason why. And I want to know, like a lot of the times I want to know why. So if I can't track down the model, then that kind of sucks. But a lot of times I can track down the model and ask them, hey, like, what's going on? Like, have you worked with this photographer before? Um, a lot of things that people should do is doing their research on the people that they're working with, asking other models that have worked with people, hey, how are they? Did you enjoy the shoot? How was the general vibe? Just things like that. I've definitely gotten messages from multiple other models about different people asking um, their reputation and things like that. And I've always been 100% honest with people. But of course, thankfully, I've never worked with anybody who has did me wrong. So all the reviews that I give of the photographers I worked with are very good. And they all feel more confident after speaking with me, um, doing the shoot. And that also adds to the confidence and being comfortable. Um, but yeah, you do your research, talk to other people, go through their profile, make sure they're tagging everybody who's involved. Um, just make sure you're keeping yourself safe because it is a dangerous world out there. No matter how confident and comfortable we think we are, someone could still take advantage. And a lot of the times it's the younger models who are first starting off that are still pretty young, that don't really know what they're doing. They think that giving up their body for a shoot is good just because the photographer is telling them it is on their first 3 shoots. That's not appropriate, especially if, they're freshly 18 and you're a 32-year-old photographer. You don't need to be telling this 18-year-old to take off their shirt your first shoot, you know? Uh,
Yeah, no, that I completely 100% agree. Um, I typically won't shoot with anyone who's freshly 18 anyways. Um, not without a
Not
hundred
unless
different
it's a
people being
clean
there.
concept, I feel like doing like a J.C. Penney shoot or, just something fun and like I feel like cosplay is more in that age
Mhm.
range. I feel like you could do a lot of like I say cosplay, not hentai, kids, not hentai. Like,
So I thank you so much for coming on today. We're running out of time. So we're going to play a little bit of a game. I'm going to ask a bunch of rapid fire questions that was wrote by my wife. I have not read them yet, so I'm terrified. And then you just answer them as quickly as you possibly can. So what's your favorite type of shoot to do?
my favorite type of shoot, uh, we'll go back to the horror. I do like horror theme, being creepy, being a little gremlin. And then I do like the sexy feminine shoots. I do a lot of boudoir, but I do enjoy um just like looking at the photos after and be like, hey, like I actually do look good still.
Okay. Studio or outdoors?
I love being outside just naturally.
Okay. Natural light or dramatic lighting?
Oh, like dramatic lighting being like colors or like black and white.
So I would define dramatic lighting like black and white, low key.
I do like black and white, um, just because it always looks good and it always shows a lot of emotion that you don't really see in the colors. But I do like color because I have colored hair and I'm a pretty colorful person.
Okay. What's one photographer you'd love to work with? Or who is one photographer? Excuse me, English is hard.
That I have already worked with or that I have not worked with yet.
That you have not worked with. Who is someone you would love to work with?
There is this photographer in Vancouver. I think it's Vancouver Island, Canada, or just regular Vancouver, Canada. But she does the photo shoots on one of my favorite Instagram person's shoots, and the Instagram influencer, her name is Pinup Pixie.
Uh-huh.
Her hair used to be blonde, but she recently dyed it black. But her photographer is a lady in Vancouver, and she does very good work, and I would love to work with her.
Okay.
Very, very good, and the
Yeah.
concepts are very good.
Okay, so what is one thing every photographer should know before working with you?
Always be prepared to take a picture because you never know what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
I could strike a pose at any moment. Like I literally will just look at something and then strike a pose. I'm like, you didn't have your camera out. You didn't get it. Like there was one time I had a shoot. I was flown out to Minneapolis, Minnesota for a shoot, and we were like kind of moving between sets, and the photographer had asked me to grab his lenses off the couch, and there were two big old lenses. So naturally, I grabbed the lenses and I strike a pose like this, and he turns around and he was like, "Ah, I didn't have my camera ready," and I was like, "Well, that's a little too bad, but I guess I could try it again." You know,
Okay. Did your
the eyes
eyebrows
of the
re-
soul.
did your eyebrows recover from our last shoot that we did?
No part of Kira was harmed in the making of that shoot with the fire.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was an absolute mess. So my shutter broke on my camera the day before, and I had
Oh
to
yeah,
send it
yeah.
in. So I was using my little Z Fold, and I think we got some great images. I think a photo from that shoot is actually currently my desktop background. I would have to check real quick. Yeah, it is. So
Awesome.
yeah. Well, thank you so much, Miss Star. I appreciate you coming on. Is there any where can people follow you?
I have Instagram and Facebook. My Instagram is kitten underscore Shibaru. It's like Shibari, but instead of an I at the end, it's you because kitten Shibari was taken.
Ah,
Kidding.
Shibaru is cuter anyways.
I know. I I I thought it was cuter. It kind of grew on me. Facebook is Kira Star with two R's, Midland, Mydland, and then I have TikTok, but I always forget I have TikTok, so I haven't posted on there in like a year. But it's model Kira Star. Um, I just got an X. Haven't posted anything to it. I think that one's also model Kira Star.
Ah, okay, well, thank you so
Terrible.
much. This has been Michael Owens and Miss Kira Star, and we're signing out.
Bye. Have a great day.